I don't buy new cars, I don't buy brand names. I go to Goodwill for my clothes. I like to save money, I like to find bargains. It's the life I chose. I throw nothing away, I'll find a use another day for all this junk I keep. My neighbors all hate me, they abuse and berate me, 'cause I like doing it cheap. Yeah, I like doing it cheap. Welcome to another episode of Doing It Cheap. Hey, how y'all doing? It's PawPaw again. Yeah, the beard's gone. That's because it's January. It'll grow back. Anyway, what I want to talk to you today, what I want to talk about today is the theory behind how hydraulic brakes work in our car. Okay? This is going to be a three-part series because today is theory. The next video is installing a slave cylinder. No, I'm not being politically incorrect. You got a master cylinder and you got a slave cylinder. And for you politically correct people, we'll call it a wheel cylinder. Okay. But the idea here is if you can understand how the system works, then it's so easy to repair or service or diagnose your problem. But you got to know how it works. And brakes seem to be a great mystery to a lot of people. So let me try to simplify it for you. Again, today is just theory. We'll get into how to bleed them and all that in the next parts. But you have a master cylinder and it has a reservoir. And you open it up and you put brake fluid in it. Okay, it's located on a firewall in front of the steering wheel. You know, it'll be out there, well, basically right in front of the brake pedal. Underneath that reservoir is a plunger. And when you push on the pedal, you're pushing this plunger. And with fluid in your reservoir, this plunger pushes fluid back to a wheel, and your slave cylinder opens up or expands inside and pushes your brake shoes. They rub up against the drum, and that's what causes you to stop. When you take your foot off the pedal, there's a spring in there that's pulling back against your, trying to pull your shoes back together, and when it does, it compresses the slave cylinder and the fluid is squirted back. Okay? If this reservoir ever runs out of fluid, then you end up with air in the line. And that's what's happened to my car. Is we had a wheel cylinder go bad and all the fluid leaked out. And all of a sudden I didn't have any brakes. That was exciting. But we're going to we'll get into replacing the wheel cylinder a little bit later. But the idea here is what we want to do is push on our plunger, push fluid to our slave cylinder. Slave cylinder expands, brake shoes spread out, they push against the drum, and the car stops. Now, what we'll do next is I'll show you how to bleed these brakes. And basically what that means is we want to get the air out of the line, because air will compress but fluid doesn't, and that's the whole idea behind bleeding your brakes. You want to bleed the air out, and it's really simple to do by yourself, and I'm going to show you a way to do it where you don't have to spend $25 at the parts house buying a a brake bleeder kit. You don't have to have that. All you need is some rubber tubing and a bottle. A bottle you can see through. It don't have to be glass, but just you got to be able to see what you're doing. And watch for part 2. We'll put in the new wheel cylinder. And part 3, then we'll bleed the brakes by oneself. In other words, I ain't got no help. So I had to devise a way that I could do it by myself and yet know when it was finished, when it was complete, when it was done, and I had it right. Okay? So that's really simplified how this works, but it's just too easy. So y'all stay tuned for part 2 and 3. Have a wonderful day and a better tomorrow. Bye, everybody.